Hi guys, welcome to Didedi's Crafty Corner. My name is Diane and let's get crafty. Today I'm sharing with you the oh so inspired collaboration piece from June, and this came from Stamping with Irina, and this was a hexagon card challenge. So I started out by doing some ink blending and cutting them out with hexagons. And then I cut a larger hexagon and paper pieced my smaller ones onto it, and going from pinks to purples to that bright green. Now the colors I used were worn lipstick, twisted citron, shaded lilac, and then a little peeled paint on the leaves at the end, which you'll see. I ended up trimming this hexagon down, so you're not going to be seeing so much of the twisted citron or the yellow color. I decided I wanted to keep it with just a hint of those greens and not a full on of the greens. So really all I'm doing is I've made those hexagons into little stickers, and I'm placing them down going from the pink to the purple, and I'll put the green up on the top. And then, like I said, I do end up trimming that down. When I'm all done, I turn it over and I cut off the excess pieces all the way around, and then I end up with a perfect hexagon again. So now I'm going on and doing some blending with the same color ink. So this is the worn lipstick, and then I'm going to do the shaded lilac as well. And I'm just adding a messy little circle scribble where I'm going to be stamping out my flowers on top of it, and that's really going to give me a watercolored looking flower without having to watercolor it. It's very easy to do. You just do some distress ink blending on the back, you place your flowers over it in the way you want it, or your stamps over it in the way you want it, and go ahead and stamp them out, and then I fussy cut them out, and that gave me my perfect flowers. And then I did the same thing with the leaves or the greenery. I just did the whole page in peeled paint on the bottom and twisted citron on the top. I blended them together, and then I put my leaves. I put my leaves on there, and again just took it and cut it out, and then we're going to be ready for assembly. So the fussy cutting took a little bit of time, but not too much. So I'm using a top folded A2 size card. As you can see, the hexagon down there, the only thing I've done is I've added a scalloped hexagon frame around it. I'm using a pretty checkered kind of a pale purple designer paper that's going right on top of my card, and then I'm going to be adding some white foam tape to the back of my hexagon, and I'll be placing that right in the middle. So I tried to keep this, I wanted to kind of, my idea was to kind of follow, my inspiration was to kind of follow the sketch, if you will, that I knew it had to be hexagon, which I thought the hexagon portion turned out so cute, but I wanted to keep it kind of in that hexagon in the middle, something going up the right side hand of the card. So that's kind of the design. I was kind of trying to put my take on the, on the sketch part of this, right? That was my inspiration. So I'm taking the flowers, so I've got my little piece, my foam piece mounted down in the middle. I'm going to take my flowers and I'm going to pop them up the right hand side on top of the hexagon centerpiece, and that's going to represent the banners that they had on the right hand side of that sketch. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to use a combination of glue and foam to get all of those flowers adhered going up the right hand side, and I'm spacing them out so that I have a pink, a purple, then a pink, and then green of course on the bottom and green on the top, just to tie all the colors that I used on those little tiny hexagons on there. And then I'm going to make sure that I've curled. The other thing I wanted to tell you is I really made sure that all the leaves were curled. So I curled them all inward just to give it another dimension, another pop. And then I'm going to add a sentiment to here. And the sentiment, the flowers, by the way, are from Simon Says Stamp Spring Flowers, which is one of my all-time favorites. The sentiment is from Hero Art's Everyday Sentiments, which I grab a lot. So I just stamped it with some white embossing powder, and now I'm placing it on there under the little frame and under my one flower, and then I'll press it down, and that's going to be the sentiment. The sentiment is just because. I'm going to add a tiny white heart from Doodlebug, one of their tiny hearts that they just came out with not too long ago. I'm going to add a white heart to the front of this card, and at the very end, you might notice on the photo, I did add some Winkostella over the flowers and the leaves, and that is going to completely complete this card. I think this project was a super fun project, something that I normally wouldn't have done. I did go a few extra steps by adding, you know, my hexagon on top of hexagons, but it turned out super cute. Don't forget to go on over and follow Alicia. She is the host of the Oso inspired collaboration, and a list of all of the participants will be below, as well as Alicia's channel. Make sure you stop by and say hi, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.